Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I know I haven't really made anything in the last couple of months. I kind of been working on a bunch of other little projects and things like that that I kind of wanted to get out of the way. Now I got a lot of that stuff out of the way. I want to kind of get back on building something. I'm going to be doing another one of my three-dimensional kind of pictures. I know I kind of been building quite a few of these, but the reason why is because last year I found a surplus store and I was able to buy 42 of these things. Obviously, I got them for a super good price. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought 42 of them. But I have them all sitting in boxes except for the few that I used last year for my display. I got to use them for something. So I figure I'm going to make a few more of these different kinds of pictures. Now, I'm probably not going to use one of the new ones for this particular one because on these new ones, I noticed you can't unscrew the arms. And a couple of the ideas that I have, I'm going to need to be able to unscrew the arms in order for it to work. So I probably won't be using one of the new ones. I'll probably pull one of the old ones out of the storage just put that one back in its box. But I kind of like doing these because I like trying to come up with different themes, different ideas, different ways of doing them and stuff like that. So this is one I've been thinking about for a while. It's going to be a pirate theme. So I did is I picked up a couple pictures that are like some shipwrecks, a couple different style shipwrecks. And I'm going to figure out which one looks the best. And after I do that, then I'm going to figure out exactly what to do with him. But the game plan is here to make it look like, the captain that went down with the ship. He's coming through the picture at you. I want it to look like my original one where it looks like he's actually coming through the picture, not so much as on the face of the picture. So he's going to actually look like he's ripping through the picture, coming at you. A couple of the ideas I have, I think it's going to make it look really cool. I think it's going to be kind of a cool piece. So I hope you all stick around for the video and let's see how this one turns out. All right, kind of show what I got going on here. The reason I completely took the whole thing apart is I need to make it to where the neck is nice and rigid because there's not going to be a whole lot of the body left. So the neck is going to have a lot of weight. It's going to really be, wanting to flex a lot. So I want to make something that's nice and rigid. So what I did is by taking it all apart, I pre-bent the neck to roughly about the angle that I wanted it to be. You can see I took this piece of metal, I notched it to go around that post right there, caulked it, or not caulked it, but glued it. So once I put the back of the skull on, it won't be able to fall out of that position. And then I drilled the hole here to line up it with the kind of like a pin that's actually on the skull itself. So this way it locks this into that spot. And I just got to essentially put the two halves together. I still got to drill one more hole right here for this pin right here. But I wanted to get everything together, and I can just drill it real quick, and then I'll screw it all together. And then after that, then when I go to put it actually on the board, I will be actually cutting this in a certain area, welding a plate to it. So this way, that plate is essentially what's going to be screwed to this, and essentially everything else is just kind of going to be kind of hanging off this at that point. So let me go ahead and get this finished up. All right, so I got the main portion done. I got a metal plate on the backside that's welded to that metal rod that you saw, and I bent the skull up a little bit more to give it a little more angle to him looking forward, but having a little more of him leaning more out of the picture. So the next step is to start working on the arms and the hands and things of that nature. So let's start working on the rest. All right, kind of give a quick description of what I'm doing here is I have an extra socket and a bolt, and what I'm doing is I'm making a notch inside the arm here, on the actual top of the arm for this to be able to fit in there, and then I'm going to have this bolt. What my game plan here is I want to be able to remove this arm. I want to be able to take this arm and be able to take it off while say we're hanging it or if we're moving it around or something like that. Unlike the wall break where I kind of made it where I can't do anything with the arm, I want to be able to take this off and still be able to pose it. in the right position. So I'm gonna run another piece of metal from the back here up to this arm right here, which is going to be making it so everything's going to be nice and solid and rigid. The socket will be welded to that inside the actual arm socket here. This bolt will be inside the arm with some wire inside these. So this way I can do the same thing with the wall breaker, where I can actually take the arm, I can bend it, you know, to whatever angle I want it to be in, essentially. So when I go and pop this into the socket, the socket itself will hold it because it's designed to stay inside there. But the bolt going inside the nut will give me like essentially an anchoring point to make it to where it can't rotate, instead of making something that's solid to where I can't move it. So that's what I'm working on right now. All right, I figured before I close the arm, I'll kind of show what I'm doing here. You can see where I got the bolt here. I drilled a hole in the bolt, ran the wire through the bolt, so this way I didn't have to weld it. Put a bunch of hot glue just to lock it in place. See, I kind of have it ran between all the points down to where the socket is, and then through the arm here, and it's going to come out where the hand goes. Once I screw all this together, the only thing that's going to be hanging out is this, and I left that extra long, so when I put the hand on there, I've got to put the hand and then the sword, and then that will lock right into the socket right there. So once I get it all closed up, I'll show you what it looks like all together. Okay, so I got the arm completely put back together. See the only place you see the wires right there. I got the bolt right there. Now the way I made this, this will have a little bit of play to bend it this way if I need to, but the bulk of it was just to make sure that over time it didn't want to sag like this over time. The bracketry that I made for this is right here. The socket is right in the area right there. Filled this full of expansion foam so you don't see that bracketry. I don't have to try to hide it. It'll all be painted black first anyways, and then I'll just highlight the bones and leave this area black. So you see it'll just kind of pop in here like that. And so you can see that keeps it from wanting to sag. So the next step is to figure out something for a sword. So I'm gonna hit a few stores, probably go online, see what I can find for a sword, and then I got to figure out how I'm gonna do the area where I have the hand that's gonna be holding the pistol. So I have a few ideas in mind what I'm gonna do right there. I'm not sure just yet, but I'm gonna start tinkering with that right now since I don't have the piece to finish that. So let's continue working on it. All right, so I got the hand holding the pistol portion done. I want to say I don't ever want to do that again. I mean, that was actually a lot more of a pain than I was expecting it to be. Obviously, I used my torch to bend the fingers and was standing out by the garden hose. So as soon as I bent them, I'd stick under the garden hose to lock the shape in, look like it's holding it. But what I ended up doing, and the reason it was a pain, was I took two metal rods, welded them here and here. I drilled a hole, shoved them through, welded them, and ground it down flat. One of them is only ran to about here on the bottom. The top one actually goes all the way through here, comes out, bends up, goes inside the pistol, and goes all the way to about here. So you can see where everything's nice and rigid, it's not going to sag or move. And then you can see where I have this little cover right here over top of a nut that's welded to the plate. You see where I got the hole right here. What that's going to be is that's how it's going to be anchored to the pitcher itself. There'll be a bolt going through the backside. And I'm going to take the shirt. I'm going to run the shirt over top of here and glue it to this. Maybe let a little bit overlap the backside. Have it come out and overhang. So what it would be is as soon as it's screwed to the pitcher, it'll be right flush against the pitcher. And then whatever I do to try to make like a water look or something like that. So, but that part's done. Now it's just a matter of doing the sword and then kind of positioning everything to where everything looks natural, I guess you can say. One of the next things I'm going to work on now is going to be the sword. The reason why is because I've been all online checking, and most of the swords I'm finding are kind of cheap, cheesy kind of look. And the ones that actually kind of look a little bit okay or look a lot better, I think are going to be too big for this prop. I think they're going to be too tall. And I kind of want something to be as proportionate as possible. So I'm essentially going to use, obviously, the placement of the arm to kind of get an idea of how big I need a sword. And I'm essentially going to try to make one, and I'm going to try to model it after some of the ones like you see like on the Pirates of the Caribbean movie and stuff like that. And hopefully this works out. If not, I'll just have to just pick up one of those other ones, and then we'll go from there. All right, so here's the sword. I got it all put together. The next step is going to be doing some painting and some staining. Now this area right here kind of turned out a little bigger than I wanted it to. I kind of mismeasured with that cardboard. This area should have been a little bit shorter, so I could have bent it a little bit more, say here. But overall, I mean, it's not bad. This area right here, the whole guard, I'm probably going to do like a aged gold, paint with a gold, sponge some black on it, that kind of stuff. I'm going to do the handle in like a dark stain, and then try to age the blade to make it look like an old blade somehow. I'm going to try to decide what colors are probably going to be best for that. But overall, here's the sword. It's all done, other than just some you know touch ups, as far as the painting and aging of it. The next step is to start hopefully getting the rest of the prop assembled and hopefully get it finished up. All right, so I got the sword all done. You see, I got the hand guard area painted with kind of like a you know worn down kind of gold. Got the handle darkened up. I also left it to where it kind of looks like it has some wear on it. You see, I definitely darkened up the aluminum on the blade. Gave it a little bit of a red tint towards the end. I mean, after all, it is supposed to be a pirate sword. Got to add a little realism to this. So there's the sword. That's ready to go. And I started getting this painted. I started off with black because I wanted to start with the black, have it a dark color. And now the next step is going to be to do some dry brushing and some painting of stuff like the rib cage area, obviously the face, head, redo the whole pistol area, all that kind of stuff. And then, figure out how I'm going to go with it. I'm going to look up a few pictures to see what color scheme I kind of want to go with. I also want to kind of do some stuff where maybe I can make it look like there's water maybe dripping from them in certain areas and stuff like that. It's just a matter of what I want to do with that and play with that a little bit. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then I'll get back on it when it's dry. All right, so I had to start over and repaint them, starting with the black and then trying to dry brush and try to bring it back to life from there. Didn't work. To be honest, I don't even know why I figured it would work. So I started off just doing my normal way, where I did the lighter color, and then slowly aged it down, the teeth, and then I painted this area black again because I don't want that to stand out. You see, I left some areas right here not painted because when I do the clothing on there, I want an area where I can use hot glue, and I want the hot glue to stick to the wood and like here, and not any paint that might peel off. I also got the pistol and this cuff done and ready to go. I painted the pistol to match the sword with the gold and the brown. I got the cuff on here. Did some tea staining on here. You said did a little bit of black and greenish and stuff like that on the hand, which I will be doing that with him as well. Just to give it the look, because I mean he is from a shipwreck, an old shipwreck, so he's gonna look like he's coming from the depths of the ocean. So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. Got the hand with the sword ready to go. We got to do the same thing. Gonna be doing some darkening up here, a little bit of green, that kind of stuff. So that's ready. And I got the shirt and the jacket right there. I did some tea staining on. I'm just letting those dry so I can get ready to put those on. And I'm trying something new with this one. Instead of going with the ripped picture look, I'm gonna go with like a water ripple look, because it's a pirate. It's from ocean, that stuff. I'm gonna try for a water ripple on this one because I always want to try something new, something different. So I just took some body filler, put it on here. You see I'm kind of creating kind of like a ripple kind of look. And the plan is that he's going to sit right here, and the hand with the pistol is going to sit right here. And you see I got some ripples here too. So when you look at it, it's going to look like he's rippling the picture coming through it, instead of cutting the picture and making it look like it's coming through it. So hopefully this way works out. If it doesn't, then I guess I'm starting over with cutting another piece of wood and going from there. But hopefully this works. I think it's going to be really cool when it's done. So let's continue working on it. All right, so the pirate himself is pretty much done. Just a few little miscellaneous things I got to finish up on him. I got to do something a little different with the hair. I might darken it up a little bit. Still got to attach it. I got to figure out how to hide this. I tried peeling it off the best I could, but I couldn't. It was off-centered. That's why you see where it did. But I'm trying to find a way to cover that. I'll probably maybe put a little more green over that. I added some green to the swords, his arms, the sleeves, stuff like that, to mimic the water kind of look I was going for. A little bit on the pistol and everything. But this is where I'm at with the pirate himself. The next step is to continue working on the backboard. All right, well, it's the next morning. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to abort the mission of doing the rippled effect. I started working on it. It's just not going to have the look I want. It's not going to be smooth, fluent, like I want it to be. The picture, even with using a heat gun, because it's a form of a fabric base, I couldn't get it to lay like I wanted to. And I don't want it to look dumb when I'm done. I really want it to look really nice, and it's not going to be smooth and fluent like it should be, like a ripple should. So I'm just going to abort that mission. So I'm back to square one, gluing a couple pieces of wood together because I have two pieces to make it extra strong. I got a couple hours before that's going to be dry, so I got some thinking to do. This is the picture that we're using. Unfortunately, when we ordered this picture, it came from China. It took a month to get here. That's another reason why it's taking me a month to kind of get another video going. But it's one of those, once I modify that picture, that's the end of it. If I don't like it, it's going to take me another month to get another one before I can finish this project. So I have a couple different ways I'm thinking about doing it. One way, just lay it flat on there, put them on there. But with the way I did the arm, where it kind of looks like one of the arms is kind of still in the wall and then come back out, you'll see a bit of the picture right here, which I think is not really going to make a whole lot of sense. The other way is to take the picture, tape it off in such a way, paint that area black so it looks like that section of picture's missing, or rip it and make it look like the picture's, like you ripped through the picture like I did my wall breaker. But either way, once I do it, I'm committed. So I really got to think this one through. So right now it's just a waiting game and a whole lot of thinking. And let's see what I decide. Okay, I went with the painted method instead, just because I didn't want to lose or distort any aspects of the picture, because it is a really cool picture. So I just taped it off and kind of did a jagged kind of effect around it. Once that's dry, I'll go ahead and assemble everything and show the final product. All right, so here's the finished picture. Now, when we first put it on here, I had them coming straight out, and my wife and I were kind of looking at it. We're like, it looks a little funny. So she suggested taking the head and the arm and kind of turning them a little bit. So this way it kind of looks like he's coming a little bit of an angle to sort of match kind of the angle of the ship. And I definitely think that that made a big difference on this picture. I definitely like it more now than I did when I first put it on there. But I'm going to get a little close to kind of show you what I did here. You can see where I got the kind of did some kind of barnacles, some seaweeds. Definitely did the little bit of green on everything to kind of look like he's has a little bit of algae and all that stuff kind of growing on him. Tarnished some of the metals. I think this one actually looks pretty good. I did one last modification before I called it done, and that was I added some LEDs. Now what I did is I tried to incorporate them into the pistol to kind of hide them a little. So right here is actually two LEDs. I try to hide it as a little bit of a sight for it, and one does aim up a little high, but when I shut the lights out, you'll see why that it is aimed a little high. And the other one I have over here, I kind of built a little section right here, and repainted everything to kind of disguise it with the hand, the fingers and the pistol. So you can see where you got the two back here. I'm going to go ahead and shut the lights out and show you what it looks like. All right, this is with the LEDs on. Now we went with a blue-green combination because we kind of like the way the two colors kind of work with each other. Now we did the blue down here because this isn't necessarily the focal point, but we wanted it to stand out, and you don't see it as good in the camera as you do to the naked eye, but like the white color does actually stand out pretty good with the blue on it. Almost like a black light, but not quite to that extent. And then with the two LEDs kind of mixed together right here, and then you kind of got like the green, because the green kind of gives like that eeriness look to stuff. And then the second set of LEDs, we put the green over here, so the green kind of bleeds over to the spot. When the two kind of mesh together, you kind of get like this white kind of haze, fogginess in that spot. And then it goes into the dark blue, which kind of gives you like that eerie moonlight kind of look to the front of the ship, like the front of the ship is poking through, the darkness into the moonlight. So I like the way these colors worked with this picture right here. I like the way it came out. I'm really happy with it. You have to leave me a comment, tell me what y'all think. Now, I do plan on making some more of these three-dimensional style pictures because, like I said, I have a whole bunch of these skeletons. I would love to hear from y'all. If you guys have like an idea or one that you would kind of like to see me make, maybe it's something that you think would look cool or unique, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I'd like to build something. I like a challenge, something different, kind of thing. So leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. If you like this video, hit that like button for me. And as always, thanks for watching.